George?
He's here. Yeah.
Good. Well, he should be. All right, I have 7 o'clock. We will call the regular meeting of the Midway ISD Board of Trustees to order. We have a quorum here. Mr. Tullis is not with us, but all the other board members are. As y'all know, we always start our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight we have a unique opportunity to have somebody that is brand new to the district lead us in our pledge and also be introduced. Our new coach. Coach?
So we introduce Mr. Shane Anderson. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And further introduction of Coach Anderson.
Yeah, we'll come out and do our recognitions. So members of the board and our audience tonight, I'm very proud to introduce to you our newest Midway High School head football coach and campus coordinator at our athletic coordinator at our high school. This is Coach Shane Anderson. Shane Anderson is a familiar face to the district, and not making light of this, but hopefully this is the third time is a charm, because he did his student teaching in Midway High School. Coach Kent Bachtel hired him, and he was an assistant coach. Then he left and got some experience. Then he came back to Midway and was the defensive coordinator under Coach Terry Gamble, and then left for his past experience there as head coach of Conley High School. And then with our opening and this opportunity here in Midway now, he is the head football coach. And so again, Coach, third time's a charm, all right? All right, so again, we're very, very proud to welcome Coach Anderson. I think tonight he has family members with him. But one of the things just to stand out, and we could not spend too much time, because I know through his time and tenure with the district, you're going to get to know him better. But he has such a heart for kids and passionate about, the game of football, but also more importantly about our students and the growing of our student athletes in our programs. And so we're thrilled to bring him back to Midway and for his family to be back with us as well. So, Coach Anderson, why don't you introduce the special guest that you brought as well? Okay?
Thank you.
You bet.
If they can stand, my wife Carla and my 4-year-old daughter Georgia, my son Jackson's 12, my mom Tina, my dad Clinton, and just want to tell everyone thank you, Board of Trustees, thank you for this opportunity. Dr. K, Coach Shelton, Allison, Ms. Smith, thank you so much for this opportunity. And it really is, it's the job of my dreams. And I told Mr. Holt when he hired me 6 years ago that I would leave for one job. And this was it. And I wasn't expecting it to come open in June, but it did. And so we're super excited to be here, super happy, very, very blessed and thankful, and look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
All right, and so we're so privileged and proud tonight that we have some student recognitions, and many of our students, particularly seniors, came back for this night and their families. And I want to introduce Brad Alfred. He's going to assist us tonight in our recognitions, but we're first of all going to start with Daryl Umhofer, if you'll come forward, our Director of Fine Arts, because this is a district-wide award. And so, Mr. Umhofer, I'll turn it over to you.
Midway ISD is being honored by the National Association of Music Merchants as one of the best communities for music education in the United States. This is the 13th year in a row that Midway has been given this honor, and we are really excited about this, and we wanted to present this to the school board and to Dr. Kazanis instead of teachers like we normally would, because you're the ones that helped get us this award. The NAM Association Award is based on what the district does, and so we're really excited about that. Music education has recently undergone significant changes due to COVID, and like Midway, schools across the country have had to navigate with virtual learning and manage person-to-person instruction. We've even had to reinvent how we do live performances. Because of these new challenges, receiving the BCME distinction this year is especially meaningful to all of us, as it is a testament to the creativity of our music teachers, the dedication of our students, the dedication of our school board, and the overall support of music education at Midway. So congratulations to all of our teachers, students, and everybody involved for the NAM BCME, Best Communities for Music Education Award for 2021. And while I don't know if you want to do a picture with just one or everybody. One of the things our middle school orchestra did is they were invited to perform for the Texas Music Educators Association virtual convention. And instead of just doing a video and sending it off, Dr. Benson had them, we pressed albums. Good old-fashioned albums. So we have albums for all the board members. Good old vinyl, yeah. Vinyl. Don't leave it in your car.
Thank you for the surprise, Mr. Umhofer. This is great. For students in the room, this is a record, you remember? We used to play them over and over again, even with scratches on them. We loved them. Okay. So next, I'm happy to introduce to you Miss Allison Smith, who has lots of high school state award winners. So Miss Smith, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Kazanis, and I'm going to do my best to make it through all the names tonight, where there's quite a few, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to start with Miss Jamie Beavers, if she's here this evening. I don't know that she's here, but we're going to start with Journalism State Awards. Midway journalism students swept the competition away this year, earning state-level honors for writing, design, and digital photography in the Press Women of Texas High School Journalism Competition and individual achievement awards from the Interscholastic League Press. These students are some of the 50 staff members at the Midway High School yearbook and newspaper who write, photograph, and design all aspects of their publications while under the supervision of Jamie Beavers, their advisor. We have some people on this list that were 2020 graduates because we were not able to come and honor them here last year. So we have some old and some new, some graduating just recently. So the class of 2020 graduates are included in the recognition between February of 2020 and February of 2021, which includes the 2020 yearbook. Congratulations to the following students, and I'm just going to kind of call you, and if you're coming up, I'll announce the award that you received. So I have Katie Baird, Julia Beck, so again, some of these may not be here this evening, Zoe Bishop, Kendall Lowe, David Garcia, Adia West, Kylie Danielle, Victoria Hasbin, Sabrina Zhang, I believe she's here, and Sabrina won second place in the Press Women of Texas competition. Congratulations. Yeah, and we can do more than one now, right? Rock on. Okay, so Brenna Eubanks, I believe, is here also. And Brenna is a second place Press Women of Texas and third place Interscholastic League Press. Then we have Jillian Brennan, Alyssa Utrera, Jose Diaz. Jillian? Oh, come on, Jillian, sorry. Jillian was third place in the Press Women of Texas and third place in the Interscholastic League Press. We have Marlene Chaparro. And Zach, I'm probably going to butcher the last name. It's Davida Shavili, I believe. Blair Smith, Tatiana Chambers, and Dave Chavez. And I believe that's the list of journalism students. But thank you guys. Congratulations. And next we have our spring academic all-state athletes. Midway High School students have a legacy of strong performances on the field and in the classroom. And if you were at graduation, we are at the highest number of all-state academic members that we've had. This spring, one of our strongest showings in school history on the academic all-state athletes, despite the pandemic and non-traditional learning experiences, which we had all of the above. Congratulations to the 23 additional athletes from the spring sports. And I'm going to call up Coach Ronnie Bowles first from our track program. And so 7 Midway High School track and field athletes were named to the 2021 Girls Track Academic All-State Team by the Texas High School Coaches Association. The seniors earned this honor through a combination of a GPA of 92 or higher, a class rank, or their class rank, SAT or ACT scores. And so if I could have Madeline Bennett come up. Don't know that I saw her. Alexa Doyle, Laura Green, Rebecca Jones, Emily Lessman, Nye Porter, and Victoria Wardlaw. Sounds good. Yes, they are running fast somewhere for sure. 7 Midway High School junior and senior swimmers are being awarded academic all-state honors this year by the Texas Interscholastic Swimming Coaches Association. So if I could have Coach Dan Marlin and also Coach Kayla Stanford, I know she was over here, come up to the front. To qualify for this award, the swimmers must letter in the varsity swim and have a minimum of a 93.75 GPA for 5 semesters as juniors or 7 semesters as seniors. Coming up here to receive awards is Genevieve Bieberdorf, Cameron Bundy, Maddie Mosel, Allie North. Sorry, I'll slow down. I get all excited. Here's Maddie. And then I had Allie North. I don't believe she's here. Sophia Ramsey. And Elijah West. And Jules Weir. And that's it. Congratulations. Next up, we have 5 Midway High School baseball seniors earned academic all-state honors this year, with 1 being named to the elite team. I'm going to ask Coach Eddie Kornblum to come up front. To be recognized for the all-state academic team, each of these players exhibited good moral character, earned an overall grade point average of 92 or above, along with excellence in their class rank and SAT and ACT scores. To make the elite team, a player must have a near perfect score in all the categories. And so first up is Reed Cromie with honorable mention. And then we had Court Castle, second team. Walker Pierce with the elite team award. Ryan Davis, honorable mention. And last we had Logan Mercer with second team. Congratulations, guys. And last but not least is our softball players. And so at this time, if I can have Coach Williams, I'm not sure she's here. I didn't see her, but she's here in spirit. So we have 5 Midway High School softball players that were also named to the academic all-state team this year for displaying good moral character and exhibiting an overall grade point average of 92 or above. When reviewing nominations, each student's class rank, GPA, and SAT or ACT scores are also considered. First, we have Caroline Roat, and she was second team. Natalie Harris, second team. Caitlin Powers, second team. Maddie Flegging, honorable mention. And Hannah Steriker, second team. Congratulations. congratulations to all of our student athletes.
We have one other recognition item that was not on the agenda. Y'all know this guy's the superintendent. What you don't know, a lot of you, some of you do, is the person that's behind him and the board and that keeps the wheels on the rubber side down, turning, yes, and out of the bar ditch.
Yes.
Out of the bar ditch. Miss Cindy Milligan. Cindy is her badge says Secretary to the Midway ISD Board of Trustees, which is just one of her hats. She's also then your executive assistant. I don't know what the formal title is. A position you've held for how long, Cindy? 4.5 years. I'm just telling you what, without her getting the 6 of us that are here tonight together would be impossible. The board packets that we all rely on and use, her. She is top-notch, has been, always. It's been a pleasure to work with her. This is our last board meeting. Being a sound mind and body, she's retiring and going to spend her time with her grandkids. Right? Words, Cindy? Thank you for everything. We wish you the best. Take care of those grandkids. So for those of you that are here for recognition, if you want to stay, we'll love to have you. You got other things to do on a great summer evening. We understand that too. I think she might actually be a little surprised. I know she is.
I didn't know we kept it from her.
Yeah.
Totally.
Good. Good.
Carolyn's a good counterpart. To help me with that. It's just us again. Enjoy.
Okay. Information items. Any board member have any question about those items? And if not, we'll move on to the presentation discussion items. Very good. Some light reading there on the update 117 for you. Presentation discussion items. Buddy, bond construction update, please, sir.
I thought I usually followed Wesley, and that was a tough task, so I'm glad he gets to follow me tonight. The bond construction, everything seems to be going along smoothly. The CTE, if you haven't been by there, there's several walls up now. The slab, they only like one elevation, getting all the slab poured for the CTE. Ag Shop Edition, we're still planning on having that ready for this school year. The band parking lot, we're still planning on having that ready for this school year. So everything's moving along there. One thing that hasn't come up yet.
We have a few technical difficulties, all of us.
Trying to convince her not to. Yeah, just close it out and open it back up.
I did that. It didn't work.
It's got to update.
Yes, sir.
Band parking lot, do you know, July-ish?
July 15th is the goal for having it ready for band. And if it happens to not be ready, we'll have the 8 acres ready for them to start on. We've done that before, but the goal is to have it ready for July 15th. One thing that hasn't come up yet is, as y'all know, because of inflation and the prices of everything is going up. So far, all of our subcontractors and everybody has been able to honor their price because we bid at a really good time. We are having a bid opening for the ITC on Thursday. It'll be interesting to see how those numbers compare to numbers that we've gotten in the past. We did have a pre-bid meeting for the ITC. I'll jump ahead a little bit on that. And we had good participation at the pre-bid meeting. So I think we'll have good coverage on everything. It's just that we know that prices are going to be up. We have had some issues on lead time of certain items. Just if you order things right now, I mean, they're saying a metal building now, you would be lucky to even to get it by November. So we haven't seen anybody not honor their prices yet, so we hope that's not coming. River Valley, things are going well out there. If you've been out there, drive by if you haven't. It's amazing. You can really tell that we're doing something there. As I said, with the ITC, the Information Technology Center, we have been having weekly meetings on that. We'll have the bid opening on Thursday, and we hope to have you a guaranteed maximum price at the June 29th call board meeting. If we don't, we won't be needing having a call board meeting. But we're ready to get started on that project. Our renters, they have all their stuff moved out, and it's ready for demolition as soon as we get that GMP approved. At Ritchie Road, the new elementary, the building pad, of course, is complete. All the piers are complete. They are now pouring grade beams. One thing that did pop up this week, as you know, I mentioned to y'all earlier that we had a groundwater issue, and we put in a French drain to handle the front of the building and around the south side, I guess that is. Now some groundwater has popped up in another location on the other side of the building, the side next to the water tower or the water plant, and so we may be having to look at adding some more French drain because we do not want it down the road water to get under that slab and cause it to rise up. So that's the new thing there. Rain has made it difficult on all of these contractors, and it's made it difficult, but so far we're still on schedule with everything.
The groundwater that popped up, do you think it's from the same source as the original groundwater, or there's more than one source?
So when we dug that French drain to take care of the original ground source, we found a spot where it looked like somebody had turned on a water hose, and there was down underground. When they dug that out, it was like there was a water hose running. So with groundwater, we don't know, but we know there's groundwater issues, and now this groundwater could be coming from a different location, probably coming down the hill from the water tower side, where we felt like the previous groundwater we know was coming towards the Ritchie Road area. So we think we can take care of it possibly with some trenches that were already being dug for electrical purposes to turn those into a French drain also. That's what we did in the front. We used a storm drain and just turned it into a French drain also. So
Does it make you worry about the water tower? Could there be a leak at the water tower?
no, because when the first groundwater showed up, they looked at all the numbers
They did? Okay.
and all the meter numbers and everything just to make sure that that wasn't
That wasn't
happening. So
happening.
it's
Okay.
it's truly groundwater.
Truly groundwater.
And I think they even tested it and there was no chlorine in it. So.
Okay, good.
The Woodgate renovation project has gone full blast. The demolition is almost complete on phase one. They've even started putting up the sheetrock where the wall tile is going to go, and it is moving fast, phase one. So we still plan on at Labor Day being able to move into that side of the building and free up the other side of the building. That building is the most, as Aaron Miner would say, gummy. There's a lot of logistical issues to work out with having school there at the same time construction is going on. But Cloud Construction's been great to work with on that.
And follows Principal Wes Canoyer on social media. He's been posting some really exciting video of the work going on in there.
They're great, I know.
Yeah, I'll have to go.
And I have to brag on Wes too. Wes has been phenomenal in all this. He's been in all of the OAC meetings, not AOC, but he's been in all of the OAC meetings, and his input has been very valuable. So if you see him, pat him on the back.
Yes, please.
The high school and Woodway HVAC replacement project is going as planned. I mentioned last month that we thought there might be an issue pop up, but we think we've gotten that worked out with city inspections, but I think all that's worked out, and that project is moving along very quickly. There is an item on the consent agenda, item number 8. If you remember last month, I showed you a picture of some possible driveways we'd like to construct at Spring Valley. And what that consent agenda item will do will give Dr. K permission to move forward. It's selecting the delivery method, and we figured on that project we'll just do competitive sealed proposals and bid it out. Walker Partner will help us with the designing of it and all the specs and overseeing the project. So if you approve that consent agenda, you're not spending any money yet. You're giving us permission to get some competitive sealed proposals. Anything
Could you just
else?
remind us, Mr. Freeman, one more time about you said June 29th is our call board meeting for the GMP for the Information
ITC.
Technology Center.
Yes,
What
sir.
about phase 2 of Woodgate?
That's going to be in July.
But still this summer, and also it's out, and we'll.
Yes,
ask
probably
for-
the GMP will probably be at the August board meeting
Okay.
because they're not completely finished with the drawings yet.
Okay.
So it bids in July.
Okay.
So it'll bid in July, and then at the August board meeting, we'll have a GMP for phase 2.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Review of input on attendance rezoning. George, is that you or?
It's combo. I think Ms.
Combo?
Marlin's going to come on up. Come on up. So in your board packets, you'll notice that the different links there are live. And so what we have done with the Community Thought Exchange was, first of all, provide to you the district's website, midwayisd.org/rezoning, for comprehensive information about the 3 different scenarios under consideration. But after that, though, Ms. Marlin and our Thought Exchange consultants have showed you the first link to the full report of all of the thoughts generated from Thought Exchange. The second link is thoughts to the Thought Exchange that are sorted by the scenario. So thoughts on, in favor of, or opposed to, or just general thoughts about scenario 1, 2, or 3. And then finally, the third link is thoughts sorted by topics. And these are somewhat similar topics to our guiding principles, but they may not match them exactly. But ironically, they came pretty close if you're looking at the development of themes from all of the thoughts that were generated. So again, throughout a lot of these, some thoughts didn't specifically be able to fall in a bucket, but quite a few of them did. And it's really the intelligence and of Thought Exchange and working through it and having our consultant work with us in order to flesh that out for us. So again, that's there. It's live. This board packet is a source. Just let me know if you need them sent to you in a different way. But it is a way to get the full information. But Tracy, I thought you would start, though, if you don't mind, beginning the slides, just about the overall statistics that occurred for this thought exchange?
Yes, sir. I'm going to run from over here so I can drive the computer.
Okay.
So we had 905 participants, which is a fantastic amount of participation. Statistically, that gives us valid responses with 853 comments and more than 73,000 ratings. So they spent time going through all of them. I think it is significant to note that the majority of the participants are from the South Bosque zone. I don't think that's a surprise, but 544 identified with South Bosque, which is about 64% of overall. Not about, it is 64% of overall participants, followed up by Woodway Elementary and Castleman Creek participants, whereas those are going to probably be the three campuses that you'll see the most movement from going to the new schools. Most people participating have a child who is third grade or younger, meaning that they would be affected by the change for the elementary rezoning. In your board packet, you have this, which just is mentioning the key thoughts. This is just starting from the very beginning of all of the thoughts, from the very top ranked thought going down. I think it's important to understand with Thought Exchange, it is not like social media in that if something rates higher, more people see it. It does not get pushed to the top. It automatically rotates the thoughts that everybody is seeing to try to get an equal number of overall rankings, not to get an equal star rating, but to get an equal number of people looking at that thought and trying to validate it. When you click on this, when you click on the link to explore all thoughts, this is a live version of this where you can start sorting through. You are also able to search for any keywords. It's always interesting to search for multiple exclamation marks. And then you can start going through and looking for keywords and things that you're interested in if you want to see anything particular. I'm going to skip back over to your PowerPoint. That's what the link, the blue button, goes to. The differences panel. This is something that fascinates me with Thought Exchange, that it can do artificial intelligence of sorting like-minded thinking. So it's not following any particular person, but if your same IP address is answering one way, a whole bunch of questions one way, and then a whole bunch of questions another way, it starts to be able to group people into like-minded thinking. So the sides A or side B means a group of people that were answering things all the same. And so you'll see one of the major differences was scenarios 2 versus 3. Side A says, I should go to side 2, less disruptive, I choose 2. And side B says, I like 3. 3 makes the most sense. In this case, this was 202 people in side A and 170 people in side B. And it's always interesting to see what they have in common in the middle, in the Venn diagram. So there was quite a few comments in the Thought Exchange referring to Hidden Valley and opinions about how Hidden Valley should be affected, and quite a few opinions on where division lines could be different than what any of the scenarios are. So you'll commonly see quite a few people saying, well, not here, it should be over here, and just suggesting different areas. So you see that in this one, the first set of differences. Another set of differences was opposed to scenario 1 versus in favor. So side A, 154 people were very opposed to scenario 1. In side B, 108 people were very in favor of side 1. And then again, they felt like they wanted to have suggestions for ways we could do it different in terms of other dividing lines and Hidden Valley. All right, so then you can see the 2 theme sets that Dr. Kazanis mentioned. We did 2 different ones. So you can go through all thoughts in that first link. These are thoughts that fell into a bucket of some sort. So first we had scenario choice theme set. And so if you're looking at the live version of that, that is people who specifically mentioned one of the scenarios that they liked. I'm going to see if I zoom in real quick. And when you go to this and you're going on live and you're exploring, you can actually click on scenario 2, and it breaks it down to those who said that they were in favor of scenario 2 or opposed to scenario 2. And you can click even further to go read the specific comments that are in favor of 2. So this is why we chose to give you the interactive links instead of printing, because there's quite a bit of exploring and breaking down that lets you really explore it. So then you can go click on it, opposed to side 2, and see what people felt about opposed to side 2. You can go back and do the same thing with scenario 1. Those that were opposed, you can see there were 10 thoughts opposed with a 3.0 star score, 5 in favor of with a 2.9, and you can read what those 5 comments were. Then there's people with the multiple scenarios, and it is in favor of, like for instance, I liked this one, and they're saying scenarios 1 and 2. This one was nice that they liked all of our input. Or opposed to, where they felt like none of the options were very good, or they don't like 2 specific options at once. So not making assumptions, just trying to put exactly what they commented on, and that's why some don't make this theme set. So you can read the comments in the all thoughts, but some did not specifically comment. Then there's a second theme set, which is the rezoning priorities. And this is what Dr. Kazanis mentioned. There's a lot of the same language in here as the guiding principles, which makes sense. That means our community told us one thing at the beginning of the process, and they were consistent in the end with the same types of concerns. So you'll see some of the same language, but these are not our specific guiding principles. These are just the buckets of how people thought. And again, you can click on it. So location-based concerns. And then that breaks down to distance and proximity comments, start time comments, traffic comments, busing time cost comments, and property values. And again, you can see when you hover how many comments there are in that area. You can click on it to go read the comments in that area. And they are sorted by the ones that were most highly rated, most vetted as a concern. And this allows you as the board to be able to see what everybody thought, but also to look at it when you group it, how does that make another story for you? How do you see like issues and the intensity of those? Other was a series of breaking down of what should be priorities. Children should be priorities, families should be priorities. Different options, thinking that there should be something else, another scenario. And a set of appreciation, which is nice, just saying that they appreciated the process and the commitment to our stakeholders. So we appreciate even just acknowledgement that this is a hard process and not an easy answer. Capacity concerns are related to future school and overcrowding. Examples of look at 2027 in all plans, eventually there's going to be another school, or concerns about overcrowding already. Dividing lines, these are all where people are suggesting different dividing lines, where they thought that those should be. So there's ones related to Ritchie Road, about Hidden Valley and Spiegelville, about Woodway to Pogue and Merrifield, and equity and economic disparity concerns, and Highway 84 corridor concerns. And then transitions, both related to disruption and moving of students or grandfathering options. And so y'all are welcome to explore, and those were the links that we provided for you to be able to go through all of them. And you can see them by either theme set, by the scenario choice theme set or the discussions topic theme set. Any questions about those?
I'll just add one thing to make it easier for you, and maybe Carolyn or Cindy can help me remember this. Is that, as you know, it's in this board packet, but we'll just send you this PowerPoint, this PDF, separately to you by email, so that's all you have. And as she said, it is linked. The links are live, and you would have the ability to do the same thing. It's just not where you'd have to log in, go to your board book.
Right, when
Things
you
like
leave,
that.
you left the board book, and so then you had to go back, or at least because I downloaded it, and then I had to go back to the packet.
So we'll just send you this after tonight, just this grouping, so then you just have it to go.
Yeah,
back
that'd be
and forth.
awesome.
Just as Tracy did, what we wanted you to do is explore furthermore all of the different thoughts. Again, it's very, very sophisticated, enhanced type of analytics regarding our comments. Or you can start at the report, start at comment 1 and just read every one of them if you'd like to do that. Yeah. So this just kind of helps you. If you've already done that, as Ms. Vick has read them all, then now you can kind of see how they grouped. And then you can get a little more specifically about how each of the comments were grouped based on commonalities with each one. But I will say, due to the, again, the depth of this as well as the participation of this, you did notice that's why we're discussing it tonight, to see if you had any other questions about the input, but it's not for approval tonight. This is the month of June. We wanted to give you more time to look through those and see if you had any other additional questions before we get to a point of actually approving attendance zones, which would be slated for July next month.
Did you try to get some different scenarios? Did you talk to, we're still just sticking with the 3 at this point?
Right.
What constitutes a participant in a thought exchange? Just curious if it's IP address based or what?
It's IP address based.
Okay.
So yes, somebody could participate on different devices, and it would count as separate
Three
people.
from the household are all participating. They may only count as one.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
If they're using the same computer and, I mean, maybe probably even same browser or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is our decision-making process going to look like going forward? Are we only going to come to the next meeting and discuss, I mean,
Are we going to have a called meeting to discuss more in depth?
It's up to y'all. What do y'all want to do?
It's up to the
I mean-
board to see what else we can do to help with the information. The other thing I'll add to that was asked, we did receive, and board members, you did receive emails, and so wanted to kind of do this in steps. So this was your first step of the input. The next that will be provided to you, which most of you, generally, if an email was sent, all of you got it. We noticed maybe just a few might have just been, an email may have been sent to just one board member or 2 board members in particular. But we'll compile those, and also you can have the ability to review all those again in one place, even though you've reviewed many of them from your own email, but this way you can have all of those.
I know I tried to, I think I passed on everything to you that was sent to me individually, but given that I represent the neighborhoods that are most on the line, I got a lot that came to me only. And I'm trusting those all went to everybody, but it felt like a lot more than a few.
So we do, like I said, doing our best, but that way they're all there so you can see if maybe you said, oh, and as another board member, I didn't by chance get that one individually. They'll all be there so you can have them to review.
And that will be obviously between now and July.
Yes.
So with that in mind, relative to your question, Susan, Pam, y'all have a preference that we try to have a special called meeting before the regular meeting on July 20th with this as a presentation discussion topic? Are y'all comfortable with having it? Obviously, it can be discussed and dealt with in detail. It's not just that it's on there to vote at that meeting, and not having a meeting between now and then with this as an agenda item. I mean, what's y'all's preference?
I lean toward having a meeting in between so we can really, if they want us to vote on it in July, I feel more comfortable voting on it if we've had a meeting to all of us discuss it.
You're saying a meeting before the meeting like tonight?
Right. Or another day. It doesn't have to be before the meeting, maybe.
This is what it comes down to, what we've been working on for the last 4 years. And again, I appreciate there's tremendous amount of time and effort that's gotten us here. But given all of the feedback that we got, and I mean, we only saw the proposed scenarios just over a month ago.
Well, that's why we didn't have it on the agenda for tonight to vote on.
Right.
Because, you know, when George and I met, I said, man, we've got to give the board members more time, because there's I knew just from the emails, without regard to thought exchange, there was going to be a lot of input, and there has been.
Right.
And
I wasn't expecting the scenarios that we got. I have some concerns. I just want to make sure we're doing our due diligence.
Right, or I thought maybe we were going to come up with some other scenarios after the last meeting.
That was the way I left feeling with that.
I thought
impression
that's
as well.
what was going to happen, but
Yeah.
no.
What is our drop dead date, George, that you need us to really make this
I
decision?
don't
Is
have
July the
one.
date?
No, sir.
I mean,
The
we don't want
other-
to drag this on, obviously, but
The other is, again, it's difficult, as mentioned, try to as we've talked about, a construction meeting, call meeting, we will have a quorum of only 4 on the 29th, so it's difficult in the summer to get all board members due to different schedules and vacations and not. It's not critical that it's approved in July. You could also continue to discuss it at the July board meeting and approve it in August. Remember, these are for the fall of 22, not this fall. So there's that opportunity.
Sure.
But we really wanted to have it at least the calendar year, a full year ahead of this, so you could do that. You could just simply, again, look in July for discussion.
Could we come early to the July meeting and just sit around the table?
It's just easier sometimes to talk and discuss when we're in
Yeah.
a table instead of in this.
I guess that it's not the scheduling so much as
Situation.
this format
Yeah.
is a little awkward to toss ideas around.
Okay.
And-
As our tradition has been, as you all know, like if we do have a regular meeting, we often have workshops before.
Right,
So
have
we
a
could call one
workshop.
before the 20th, if that's already on everyone's calendar, you know, as I said, the difficulty of the summer, and then go from there.
I would say, I think it's likely whatever scenario we do for another meeting, we will probably have considerable input from the public wanting to come address that as well, or at least observe, which
If we
might make
new
the location
scenarios, We
difficult.
gotta get those out to the public too, I think. I mean, I'd be hesitant to start moving lines around without getting some feedback. So I don't know how that would factor into the process also.
I'm sorry, what did you say at the beginning, Andy? I didn't hear.
If we made a new scenario and
Oh, a new
moved lines
scenario,
around,
yeah.
I mean, I guess a minor tweak here and there, but anything significant,
Sure.
I'd be nervous to do that without
Putting it
getting
out
feedback, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that if we have an early workshop before next month's meeting, we all need to bring our questions, our concerns, be really prepared, you know, if we have any other scenario ideas or.
Or definitely
Be
before
ready.
that, communicate those to me.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
yes, we can do
Before
that.
that, so
Yes.
maybe
Okay.
we could
Be
prepare.
prepared.
Well, and I guess one of the things that might be helpful, I know the last meeting we had the demographer actually here, and he was able to look during a recess at some of the, you know, if we move this line to here, what does it do to numbers? Is that a resource we could have for that workshop as well?
Yes, in theory, yes, I just have to confirm that he does.
Whether it's
have a
him or at
conflict.
least the resource itself,
His,
however that
his
works.
assistant could possibly do it.
Yeah.
And if not, in person, possibly still virtually, that he could.
Yeah, and then if we did come up with a new scenario, we could put it out there in, a month's kind of a quick turnaround, but at least get some feedback before August. If we did that, I'm not really advocating for another one, but if somebody has an idea they want us to look at. It's hard because every feedback we've gotten has had excellent points, and a lot of them in polar opposites.
Right.
And so
That's, that's the challenge.
yeah.
And just remember, though, with all of these, though, if you look at them, again, in terms of the work, it was keeping neighborhoods together.
Mhm.
And so that's why you can move around, move a line here, move a line there, but again, trying to maintain established neighborhoods. And we have the numbers of students within these established neighborhoods, and you take those numbers, and that's when you can add and subtract them to different schools. But not trying to break any neighborhood up where one side of the street's one school, one side's another school, or something like that. So starting like like Stone Creek or across Hidden Valley, or looking at SunWest, or looking at Twin Rivers, or any of those, we've looked at them as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, not trying to split them up.
Okay, so tentatively then, workshop at 5:30 on July
Yes.
20th.
Yes, sir.
Regular board meeting at 7.
Yes, sir.
Is that, from the board member's perspective, is meeting at 5:30? Does that give us enough time?
I hope so.
Well, I mean, y'all just went through a budget workshop. You know how quickly an hour and
Right, hour
hour
and
and 25 minutes
But
goes
if we've done
by.
our legwork ahead of time, we're looking at diving into the thought exchange as deeply as possible, reviewing the emails, looking at the maps. I mean,
Okay. Well, and significantly, as George said, July 20th, excuse me, or the August meeting, none of those are our deadline. I mean, obviously, at some point, a decision has to be made, but we certainly could have it on the agenda for discussion only at July 20th. We could have it on there to possibly vote, and if the board's not ready to vote, push it to August, so we'll, that'll be the plan. We'll have it on for the July meeting to possibly vote on, and if the board's not ready to vote, then we're not ready to vote.
And it
Fair
might be
enough.
good to do it that way as well, because when the public sees that it's there to vote, they're probably going to come to that meeting.
Yeah.
And if we decide not to vote, that would still give us another month to process and vote in August, instead of waiting to vote in August and they all show up in August. And if something happens, we keep moving it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, hopefully, folks understand, like any item, some items we're up against a hard deadline and we need to take a vote at a specific meeting. But frequently, we're not, and there are multiple times in years past where on an agenda item, something comes up, we don't vote on it, and we push it to the next month's regular meeting, or we have a special called meeting. You know, because that's the other thing. Once we get past the July 20th meeting, the summer for a lot of folks is coming to an end, and it might be that we're ready to have a special called meeting before the regular meeting in August. But that's all, I mean, that's down the road. There's plenty of time to make those decisions as we get there.
As long as it's on the agenda, some level, whether we vote or not, they can still speak in July
Absolutely.
and or
Yes.
August.
If it's an agenda
Agreed.
item,
Agreed.
Andy, that's a good point. If
Yes.
it's an agenda item, folks can sign up to speak to the agenda item.
Right.
And obviously, our district has a long history of entertaining members of the community, our parents, our constituents that want to come address the board. In fact, I mean, we're unique. I don't know of any other district around that allows the public to request an item to be on the agenda. We do that. We've done that for years because we want to hear from them.
I think one of the things that might help us be more prepared for that workshop too, I don't know if this is too overbearing on either the demographer or on the district, if a board member said, I would like to see what the numbers look like with this certain map, can we communicate that to you, George, to find out? I mean, if that's, in other words, if Brad here says, I want to come with an idea for the workshop and to be prepared for that. Sorry, Brad.
As long as you, like I said, it'd be great if you had the idea and you could share it with me earlier, so I could get the
Right.
demographer, we could run it, and then have it prepared for all
Yeah,
board members. to
that's
look
what I'm
at.
asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be way more helpful to see a map at the next meeting than to wait for the August meeting to see it.
It's difficult to do it. It's difficult to do it live. I mean, you
Right.
can. It
Right.
takes time because it's a computer and processing all of that.
And I just know that with a lot of the feedback being people want to see a different map, if we don't start that process now, then when are we going to do
Right.
it, right? So,
Yeah.
okay.
That was a theme that seemed to come across pretty
Yeah.
strongly.
All right. Anything else on this one, folks?
Thank you for everything y'all done up to this point. And Tracy,
And
Well
by
done.
the way, this is the building in real time, right? As people were coming in?
This is the real time making thoughts and then connections on rating. I was trying to see if it had a timeline in what Dr. Popejoy said about getting public comment again. It did not take very long to get the majority of our comments early.
About a week.
And so I don't know that we need a month's worth of comments if you did come back with another thing. We could probably get it done in a couple weeks tops.
Okay.
well, and now they've had a chance to really look at what the options are. I think it would even go more quickly.
What is that again?
All right.
Okay, when it happened,
Responses and-
okay.
We good?
Thank you.
Appreciate all the hard work.
Yeah. I like that.
Wesley,
I like
monthly
the
finance
drill down
report?
tools. That's very cool.
Yes, sir. Not a lot to report this month, but we do have our final enrollment numbers for the year. The district finished the year with 8,189 students, 112 less than the prior year. Also, our attendance percentage was 96.1%, which is half of a percent less than what we typically average. And then finally, on our budget projection for the year, we're projecting a surplus of $833,000 in our general fund for fiscal year 2021. Any questions?
If not, Wesley, I think you're also up on the use of funds from the federal programs for 21-22.
Yes, sir. So a look at our federal programs, use of funds, and these are separate from the funds that we discussed earlier this evening that the board adopts. These are all federal grants that the district applies for, and then submits a plan for how the district's going to spend these funds in accordance with the rules of each of the federal programs. So just a quick overview of each federal fund. Title I, Part A, our planning entitlement for next year is $614,000. It's primarily used for teacher, paraprofessional salaries, some tutoring, instructional supplies, and parental and family engagement activities. Title II, entitlement is $159,000, also primarily used for teacher salaries and a small portion for professional development. Title III is our planning entitlement is $31,000. We use that for instructional supplies. That's for our language English ELA students. And our Title IV entitlement is $45,000. Again, we treat our Title IV similar to Title I. We use those funds for teacher salaries for intervention strategies. Special ed grants, IDEA B, and IDEA B of preschool. IDEA B planning entitlement is $1.3 million, and the preschool is small, is $17,000. Those are for our special education services. Again, salaries, contract services for deaf education, residential services as needed, instructional supplies, and professional development and training. Our Perkins grant is for our CTE program. We received $54,000 for next year for that, primarily for instructional supplies and professional development. And then our ESSER grants, which are new for next year. ESSER 2 grant is federally funded through the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act. $2.1 million is what our entitlement is for ESSER 2. The intent is to respond to the pandemic and address student learning loss. ESSER 2 is reduced by the amount of our hold harmless received for the current 2021 school year. ESSER 3, planning entitlement, we get 3 years to spend ESSER 3. We have $4.7 million available to us. Similar to ESSER 2, the intent and purpose is to safely reopen and sustain the safe operation of schools and address the impact of coronavirus pandemic on students. And as part of ESSER 3, we're required to gather public comment and input through an advisory committee and survey results. We've already released the survey through email and have it posted on our website. And we're taking those that feedback and those comments into account as we make plans for how to spend our ESSER 3 funds.
Wesley, who's on the committee, advisory committee?
Well, there's it's a wide variety. So it's parents, community members, board members, leadership team. We've presented their survey to our leadership team, principals, and we're getting feedback from all those groups.
The rest of everything except the ESSER funds that you've already gone through, is that already built into the budget stuff that we looked at earlier in the workshop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several teacher salaries that are funded through those federal grants that aren't included in the general fund budget. And so some suggested use of ESSER 3 funds, interventionist teacher salaries, early reading academy, summer school tutoring, professional development, mental health services. We can even use some for HVAC system upgrades to make sure we have provide a safe and clean environment for our students as we return, or we have been, but return to in-person instruction. Any questions?
Thank you. That's a lot for you to do. Top of what you already do.
And it's what Mr. Brooks was saying, too, about Ms. Vick's question about input. It was difficult with ESSER because of the timing. It's now. We're not in school. Right. So to have more planning time, we just found out our entitlements. But what we've done is, as he's mentioned, in terms of gathering input from staff, yes, we could do that from some of our meetings already this summer, but we also posted a survey in our last News to Know about that, I believe, in terms of doing our due diligence to get as much input. Also, you'll notice on tonight's agenda, That's why there's a public hearing. That's a requirement too, so if any of the public are here tonight to have any other thoughts about the use of ESSER funds. It's interesting to note they want input about the ESSER funds, but also there are requirements that the federal government already told us, and so that's why I asked Wesley. I appreciate him doing that. If you'll notice the different ways that we could possibly build our plan that we submit to the state for our funds to be released is with interventions, as he said, and summer school type programs, PD, mental health. Really the only physical products to buy we've noticed, other than supplies for intervention with students, is more in your HVAC systems and if you're doing any upgrades. But you all know we have quite a few projects already underway with our bond projects as it is, and updating quite a few HVACs across the district. But other districts could spend their money in that way. That's concrete. Or in technology, things like that too.
I don't know if this was mentioned already, but that survey link is on the homepage for the website, so you can't go to the district website without seeing how should Midway prioritize ESSER funds to help students recover from COVID. It's right there under the calendar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you've told them and asked them again.
And Wesley, I know the focus here the last several minutes has been on the ESSER 3. One of the things, just so it's again clear in my mind, the ESSER 2 numbers that are in here, the 2.1 million, you've got a bullet point down there about that being reduced by the amount of the hold harmless calculation. So that 2.1 million is not the money we're actually going to get on ESSER 2. That's going to be reduced by how much?
About 1.4 million.
Yeah.
So really, after that, well, yeah, about 700,000 will be available.
Yeah. So it's still a significant amount of money, but it's, you know, only a third of the 2.1 million. So, other questions from the board?
And was
on
it,
this?
did you say 20% of our ESSER 3 money has to be spent on dealing with a learning loss?
Learning loss.
Okay. It's about 900,000-ish.
And time frame, Wesley, how long does the district have to spend the ESSER 3?
We have 3 years, so until September 2024.
Very good. Time for a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
All right, so technically I think we recess this meeting, open the public hearing, and we're on the public hearing on federal programs use of funds for 2021, and we are open hearing from any member of the public that wishes to address the board on this topic. It's the same usual suspects we have show up at our public hearings that we have on the budget and the tax rate, huh? So, hearing from no one from the public, we will adjourn the public hearing and reconvene our board meeting and move on to the consideration items, the first of which is the consent agenda. We have our minutes, our interlocal agreement with Hewitt and the City of Woodway, City of Hewitt and City of Woodway, our MOU with evacuation and emergency operations, the new position request that we talked about in the budget workshop, an out-of-state trip for cross-country, our resolution regarding ESSER 3, and our board policy requirement amendment that we have to adopt in connection with that, and then approving the construction delivery method for the Spring Valley driveway project. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda?
Can I ask a question about one of them?
Well, we need to take it off if we're going to do that, which is fine.
The ESSER 3 policy resolution.
Sure. So we'll remove number 7 from the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve 1 through 6 and 8 on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alford.
Second.
Second by Ms. Watts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Number 7, Colin.
So my question is for George on this. If the language on here, the approval of required grant and award plan shall be by the superintendent. That's our normal practice for these types of grants, right? I mean, this isn't really a change to our normal practice.
No.
Okay.
No, sir, we have not. You're reading based,
I'm reading the
tell me where you are.
The resolution itself on the CB local change.
Right.
I just didn't know if this is a change to our normal practice for these types of funds. If normally it requires some kind of additional board approval and we're changing that.
No, that's my understanding, like, as Wesley mentioned, the presentation on the other federal dollars we had already received, they are part of they supplement our budget.
Okay.
That you all approved at the very beginning. Certainly, though, all purchasing requirements are still there. That's not a carte blanche check to write, meaning there's a threshold of how much above, that, I could approve to, expend, and so any purchases above a certain dollar amount still come to the board. Any also procurement method would be required. Let's say we're thinking of a large purchase, and as you noticed, as another agenda item, like for example in Spring Valley, like let's say we were looking at HVACs, and you still have to approve the delivery method if we went to spend $1 million on HVACs or something. So you still have those mechanisms in there. I think it gives me ability to accept the dollars from the government that come in, to be a part, and then for us to begin planning those dollars. And as you can see in our discussion at our workshop, you as a board will certainly be involved in how we expend those. But I still have those same purchasing and rules and under policy for purchasing that's not going to be amended just by this resolution.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we have a motion to approve item 7 from the consent agenda then?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Witt,
Second.
second by Ms. Vick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Consideration of a resolution to nominate a candidate for the Mclennan County Appraisal District Board. This is for only the remainder of the term that expires on December 31, 2021. I know I've talked with board members about this, and y'all know we have, for a number of years, had one of our board members nominated, and the 5,000 votes that are the cumulative total is divided up among the taxing entities, and because of Midway's tax base, we essentially have enough votes to pick who we want to pick to be on that board. And as I said, for a number of years, that's been one of our board members. Based on the input that I got from board members about potentially nominating someone from our board to finish out the remainder of the unexpired term, I would like to go ahead and move that we nominate Jonathan Green to that position. Full disclosure, he's the son of Ivan Green, one of our former board members. I don't know if any of you have had an occasion to meet or talk with Jonathan. He's an outstanding young man. He's a CPA, lives here in our community, graduate of Midway ISD, 3 kids, very involved in the district, and I think he would be, and in fairness, he's willing to serve the unexpired term to see how it is. So I move that we nominate Jonathan Green.
Second.
Second by Ms. Watts. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you all. We'll express our appreciation to Mr. Green. And
He's right here. He's right in the audience.
I'm sorry. I looked out there, I don't know how many different times, and just.
Totally out of context, I hear
I haven't seen him in so
It's the
long.
big crowd out there. You blended in.
And you're
Well,
not
no, I mean, when
bursting into
everybody was
flames or
here-
anything.
When everybody was here, I didn't pick him out, and since then, I've not paid attention to who was out there. I apologize.
Should we applaud or
I should
condole?
have said something else about you, shouldn't I?
Well, thank you, John.
Thank you for your
Yeah,
willingness
thank
to
you very
serve.
And your pay will be the same that we get paid for our board service, so don't spend it all in one place. delegate and alternate for the TASB 2021 Delegate Assembly. Do we have any idea, are they going to do this in person this year?
My understanding, yes, sir.
Okay.
In person,
In September?
in September.
September 25th. As I recall, that job has traditionally fallen to the newest board member.
True.
Well,
that's true.
traditions are made to be broken, right?
Or honors.
It's the only board hazing we do, so I want to nominate Mr. Witt.
Second.
So you're saying I have to go to this now?
It's actually really interesting until it
It
isn't.
was not interesting
listen.
virtually, I can promise that, but it was very interesting in person.
It sounds like Andy wants another chance, though.
It was
I don't know.
rough virtual, I can't lie, it was an
Instead
8-hour
of 2 years
virtual
in a row.
meeting.
I did it 2 years in a row because I did find it interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is
It is
interesting.
interesting.
You're gonna love it.
It's good to do it once, yes.
You've been nominated. If we vote on this, Mr. Witt, will you serve, or do we need to vote in it, or will you just voluntarily serve?
I will voluntarily serve, sure.
Outstanding.
All I need is a secret handshake now, right?
Yes, you do have to have the secret handshake. We actually have to have an alternate also.
I'll be it, I think it's interesting, if he bails, I'll do it. If it's in person, I'm not doing
I'm not gonna
virtual
bail
again,
now,
though.
I'm just-
If it's
No,
virtual, that's all
I
you
think
do.
virtual would be as
You're
interesting as a
in-person
written
alternate.
out.
In person
Yeah.
only.
No, Colin, you've got enhanced training requirements as a new board member. The good thing is you do get some training credit for this.
Well, good.
So there is that piece of it. It does count.
Well, you meet board members from all over the state.
Yeah.
It's-
And I think I certainly, I've done it more than just when I was a new board member
Sure.
like Pam. I've been more than once, and it is a good experience.
Yes, it is.
So I guess we do need to vote on this in order to make an appointment, don't we?
Do we need to move Andy as alternate?
Yes.
I'm going to move that Dr. Popejoy serve as alternate.
Motion by Ms. Well, and do we have a second to that? We'll incorporate it all into one then.
Okay.
Motion to have Mr. Witt serve as our delegate and Dr. Popejoy serve as our alternate. And Ms.
Second.
Watts made that motion. Ms. Vick seconds that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you guys for your willingness to serve. We
Yes.
appreciate that. Personnel, no closed session on personnel and no action on personnel. We do have an extensive list of professional hires that the superintendent has hired under his authority that we've delegated to him during the summer. Anything else on personnel?
Obviously, Coach Anderson wasn't on that list because he's more recent than that.
Oh, yeah. No, he is. He's on the addendum at your place.
Oh, wow.
There's an addendum right at your table.
Yeah, he's
No,
he's got an asterisk by it.
no, again, HR department is working feverishly, processing, and so are our campus principals in terms of interviewing. We really do now are a small, limited number of openings, which is good for this time of year. We know, still anticipate the deadline, it's called penalty-free deadline for resignations is a little bit after the 4th of July. Sorry, thank you. That's why Mary Lou's here. It's July 2nd, so right before the 4th of July, we need those in. Otherwise, we do can possibly place penalties of those that leave the district. And so we're getting close to the final couple of weeks crunch here. So we should have hopefully our staff set. Always happens 1 or 2 afterwards, but not nearly as many. So we're hopeful. But.
So while we're on it,
Yes, sir.
understanding that the penalty-free resignation deadline's not passed yet and subject to more resignations, about how many slots do we still have left to fill, Mary Lou?
We have about 20, and unfortunately, we probably will get 5 to 7 more, maybe, what we're projecting.
Okay.
What, I'm sorry? 5 to 7 more resignations before. Oh. So, knock on wood, we won't. We had a lot of people resign early on, retired, so we're hoping maybe they made their decision early this year. We won't have those 5 to 7 more, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
We think we'll fill them.
Yes, and we're looking with the hiring of Coach Anderson as well, a couple other hires in those areas that were left open as well for the new with our new coach. So hopefully those will be within the next week or two as well.
Or is that something more or less than normal?
Usually our elementaries are filled by this time of year probably. I think we have 3 openings right now, so we're close. We're close.
Does your 20 include all professional or paras as well?
No, we have, that's just our professionals,
Okay.
that's not our parents.
Very good. I know we're going into closed session, so rather than go back there and then come back out here, why don't we go ahead and go to Superintendent's Communications, George?
Definitely. Just again, all of you, we've already announced, of course, on June 29th, a noon meeting for approval of our guaranteed maximum price for the Information Technology Center, so mark your calendars. Appreciate those that can come. That's great, so we can get that approved. As Mr. Freeman mentioned, then, of course, August now, looking for Phase 2 of Woodgate. Those are critical numbers, and as I said, then the only thing left is the process of planning for renovations to the current middle school. And so we haven't kicked those off yet. Next month, plan to beginning that. Remember, those projects can't actually begin, though, until the fall of 22 anyway, because we have to break up, have the 2 middle schools, so we have room in order to do those renovations. So we'll have a year to plan it and a year to get it out for the GMP, hire our contractor, things like that. So that's our last final project to go. Legislative update. I think Mr. Brooks in the budget workshop covered extensively a lot of the financial legislative updates. Also, you all are aware that those listening, also in attendance, of course, at the last minute, the legislature was not able to pass some key legislation, ran out of time. It's our understanding that the governor will call some form of a special session. But just as a reminder, really, initially the only purpose for the special session was going to be the redistricting. Our process is very difficult, as we see, for redrawing attendance zones for elementary schools. This is the process of drawing lines again for your Senate and as well as your House districts. And so, as you saw at the end of May, the governor certainly will add a couple of other agenda items to the next special session. But one of the things we were watching was that bill regarding virtual school, but it failed because they ran out of time. And so the commissioner does not have any authority. The emergency declaration expires. There's nothing in law that would allow the state to pay districts for students attending virtually, because there's about 8, I think, established type programs already across the state of Texas, and so there's those choices there, but districts have basically had to shelf, if you will, abandon those programs. Remember, Dr. Odejima did her presentation, and we talked about being a part of a 50-district pilot and was going to receive support. We received notice that we were approved to be a part of that, and then the legislation didn't pass. So we have notified and will continue to notify those and post that virtual school is not an option for next year.
Talk that might be part of the special session?
I'm not hearing it.
I guess he can add whatever he wants to the agenda, theoretically?
He can, theoretically, but I'm not hearing. He might.
Yeah.
It could be, but I'm not hearing it.
We've probably run out of time anyway, right, to implement anything for the fall.
It would be difficult, right?
Yeah,
Here we are.
tough.
Yeah, so put a lot of districts that had been planning, as I said, had to put those types of programs on hold. But again, great efforts this last school year for virtual students and our programs and our teachers and Dr. Odejima and staff for working really hard on that. So I appreciate them very much so. And I know we were hoping to continue off of that, but we're not able to.
On that note, I think we ought to acknowledge Dr. Odejima and her staff for a job well done.
Job done. But now,
unprecedented.
Yes, but now we're planning for our face-to-face, and as Mary Lou mentioned about personnel, and the principal's been working really hard and filling roles, and it's exciting to see folks, though, moving into the district or moving over to the district from other parts of the community, and excited. We've already started orientation sessions of smaller batches of our new people just to get some of their equipment, like iPads, issued to them and some of the basics completed. We do have we're calling it a welcome week, new teacher orientation that first week of August, so we'll have more formalized induction into the district. excited about our back to school. We're having a back to school summit on, forget the date, but the Friday the 13th. I never forget it now. So I hope that's not an omen for the next school year, but it's on Friday the 13th, but we are housing our back to school summit all at Midway High School and culminating the day with a pep rally in our arena for staff, and so we're excited about being able to do that.
Are we still doing convocation?
That's the convocation. So
On the 13th.
on Friday the 13th, it won't be in the morning, it'll be in the afternoon. So we're going to have choices and workshops for all of the staff in the morning, our traditional lunch provided through the foundation by Rudy's, and then more sessions, and then close with a big pep rally at the end of the day to celebrate the opening of the 21-22 school year.
So Ms. Marlin will let us know what we need to do?
Yep, we'll let you know your roles and times and all of those good things. But legislatively, again, is an interesting session. Again, you would have, because of the pandemic, you would have thought less. I mean, I can provide at a later time. I know at your workshops coming up at the convention, there will be legislative updates. But yes, there were less bills filed this year, but not that many less. You would have thought there would have been during the pandemic, but surprisingly, there were still plenty that they discussed, and the number of bills that were eventually approved, again, not far off than traditional years. But certainly the Capitol was different with limited public participation and entrances and being able to be in person during the session. But I'm sure all of those will be relaxed moving forward from this point forward. That's it. Any questions?
All right, then. At 8:21, we're going to go into closed session of the Texas Government Code, sections 551.071, .072, .0821. Yeah.
Yeah, you just made that.
Well, I just left the 551 off the front of all of them.
Calculating the complete number of pi over there.
So, yeah, out to 16 decimal places.
That's right.
So, we'll go do that, and then we'll be back in here.
Grabbing all your stuff.